Good afternoon. Welcome to the Midday Mull for Monday, the 2nd of March. With McShane reading through the New Testament, we begin reading Paul's second letter to the Corinthians today. And in verse 3, Paul says, "Praise be to the God and Father of our Lord Jesus Christ, the Father of compassion and God of all comfort, who comforts us in our troubles, so that we can comfort those in any trouble with the comfort we ourselves receive from God." So here is Paul, very confident about this God that comforts him, and he knows he's been comforted, and therefore he can comfort other people. And as he carries on, he talks about his life in verse 8. "We do not want you to be uninformed, brothers and sisters, about the troubles we experienced in the province of Asia. We were under great pressure, far beyond our ability to endure, so that we despaired of life itself." And he describes a situation that he had his back up against the wall, didn't know what to do other than rely on God. We're not sure exactly what that situation was. It might be one of the accounts in the book of Acts, but it could also be something else that Luke didn't record in Acts because it wasn't part of the storyline that he was telling. And I'm sure there were many other things going on in Paul's life which we don't have a record of. And then in verse 16, he says to them, "I wanted to visit you on my way to Macedonia and to come back to you from Macedonia, and then let you send me on my way to Judea. Was I fickle when I intended to do this, or do I make my plans in a worldly manner, so that in the same breath I say both yes, yes, and no, no?" And he goes on and says that wasn't his case at all. It was other situations and other issues which prevented him from having his plan work out. And as I read that, I thought, here's Paul with a plan to go to Corinth and then on to Macedonia as part of his ministry. And then once he's finished, to come back to Corinth and back to Judea. He had this plan, this scheme in his head, and it didn't work out for whatever the reason was. And as I read that, I thought, that's so much like my life, and no doubt most of our lives, that we have plans which don't work out. We face problems which we feel like we're going to be overwhelmed, and therefore it's important for us to recognize Paul's struggles and to recognize the God that carried him through and the God that was behind him and supported him in all that he was doing. The God he describes at the beginning, the God and Father of our Lord Jesus Christ, Father of compassion and God of all comfort. And so I pray that you would know that God as you go through life. When things are going wrong, we have a God of compassion and comfort that is there, that can support us and encourage us. And once we've experienced that, like Paul says, that he experienced this support in his troubles so that he could comfort those in any trouble with the comfort he had received. And so as we receive comfort, we are able to pass that on to other people. So I pray that you'd know God's comfort and share God's comfort. And that we'd have this constant assurance of God's presence with us, no matter what the situation is. Be blessed.